Hello and welcome to Talking Hearthstone, the podcast where, we talk about Hearthstone. I am Tito Santana. This is episode 15. Might be getting a little bit of a walk to work experience today. We have contractors outside doing some sanding and some power washing and a couple other things, prepping to do some repainting of some portions like my porch. So might cause some dog barking. It might be some noise or banging. Might be even some, I don't know, just ambient noise. So, we're getting our array on today. I don't think there've been any leaf blowers, but you never know. So we'll see how it goes. So today's the 12th of September. Yesterday was the 11th, and I finally hit Legend last night. I came in around 3,070-ish, somewhere around there. I got there with the big spell mage. We're going to be talking about that deck today. I struggled for a lot this month. Well, it felt like I struggled. I'm looking at my stats now, and I was 153 and 164, and that includes a few games at Legend. Really, if I'm looking at my breaking down the stats, I didn't do so badly. Most of my losses, I was 30 and 47 with Hunter, but a lot of that was playing around with a Rye Cleaver Hunter list that I got from World 8. So, but it just felt like a struggle. Like I had a couple days where I couldn't climb. I wasn't losing, winning. I just was stagnant. And everybody's expectations are different for themselves, right? And like, don't ever feel like you have to compare yourself to other people. Just you compare yourself to yourself. But I've been playing really well over the last few months. So to have that kind of stuck in the mud feeling about climbing was it got to me a little bit. It really did. But I hit a good groove yesterday. We felt good. We were having fun. And that's the most important part, right? Because games are supposed to be fun. And if you're playing well and having fun at the same time, that's really what it's all about, right? So I don't know what I'm going to play now. Like, I'm definitely going to keep playing some of the big spell mage, and we'll talk about this deck in a little bit. But I also want to branch out and do some other things. And we'll figure that out. If you have suggestions, please let me know. You can usually find me on stream or on Twitter. There's some interesting decks out there. I know Pizza made it with, I think Reno Hunter, maybe. He made it all the way to rank 1 Legend. So congratulations to him. I'm sure he's a big listener. But what I want to talk to is I want to talk a little bit about the big spell mage. And not necessarily about how to play the deck, although we can talk about that a little bit. I'm actually playing a version that's not typical, and I think it needs a little tweaking still. It's a version that was given to us by My Lord Chaos, who is a listener of the show. We run DJ Manastorm. He's fine in the deck, but I don't think he's required. We run Khadgar, which is a fantastic card, because you can get him down on 4 after you play the and I really need to remember the names of these cards. After you play the Seashell, which is a battle cry, it's a 3-mana 3/2 rogue card. Battle Cry, the next card you play from a non-rogue class costs 2 less. So you play this on 3, you play Khadgar on 4, and that's winning. He's won me a few games on his own, and he's just, extra value. You get him down on turn 4, and it's a beautiful thing. But the deck is fun. And I know not everybody thinks so, and that's okay. I personally have, if you've listened to me or watched me, haven't been big on the druid that does, druidy things, ramping and a million things when it was good. Even when it's not so good, I still not a big fan of it. I played a bit of warrior. I played a bit of Highlander warrior for a while, but it's also kind of got old on me. I don't like playing against it. The Odin version's fine, but the control-y you can't do anything. Here's 15 million Kiliaxes, which we can't really do anymore, but I didn't really like that. But those were decks that were popular, and some of them still are popular. So now I'm playing the popular deck, and I'm not playing it because it's popular. I'm playing it because it was a list I was looking forward to, and when they finally made it so we had the ability to play big spell mage and be successful, and also it kind of relies on the rogue cards to do that, then that's what attracted me to it. And so I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. So right now, this deck, or this type of deck, the Big Spell Mage or BSM, is a little over 30% of the meta, just about across the board. That's a lot. That's a real lot. So it doesn't matter how good it is. It's a good deck too, but it's doesn't matter how good or bad a deck is. If it's going to see that much of play, that Blizzard doesn't want that, Team 5 is going to probably make an adjustment. Now, I think they're going to try to stick to their guns and stay within their proper windows. They've done a really good job this expansion. We've been critical about how much they've nerfed things out of existence over the last few expansions, and they haven't done that this expansion. The meta before the mini set I thought was really good. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good decks that you could play. There was a lot of variety. There was nothing oppressive. So I felt like you could pretty much do what you wanted to and have some success, even if you were playing a tier 3 deck, like maybe Spell Mage or something along those lines. Rogue wasn't doing all that well, but it was still seeing a lot of play. And that seems like it's a very healthy meta, right? Now, it can be frustrating when everything's kind of in a balance, because if you can't really find that power outlier, sometimes it's harder to climb if that's kind of what you're focused on. But personally, I just thought it was fun, it was good, and the mini set came out, and there wasn't a whole lot exciting, or nothing that felt like it was going to add to existing decks or maybe create their own archetypes, at least yet, right? Except for the big spell mage. So I think that's part of why it's got such a high play rate right now, is because it is the new thing, and there wasn't a whole bunch of new things. It was big spell mage, a little bit of shaman hunter, and that's kind of it, right? So it didn't have this gigantically huge impact. The mini set did. So everyone's kind of gravitating towards this fun new deck. And if you don't like this fun new deck, then you're getting tired of playing against it. And you might even be already tired of the decks that you have been playing over the last few months. That's kind of how some of these card games work, right? If you're playing the same thing over and over, you get bored of it. I usually don't, but a lot of people do. So, and if you're trying to experiment, that's the other thing that kind of happens. If it's hard to experiment in a meta when you are seeing 30% of a deck that's going to just overwhelm you, like with wave after wave of tsunami. Now, aggro gets under it, so people can tell you like, hey, why don't you, if you don't like the big spell mage, just play aggro demon hunter, which is an option, but you don't want to play aggro demon hunter, or you might, you may, or you may not. And if you don't want to, that's not really a solution, because it's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to do something cool. I want to do something with hunter, or I want to do something with whatever. And if you can't play the kind of deck or style of deck you want to, because it's just not competitive, that can be really frustrating. So I wanted to just kind of like think about this for a little bit. And I was asking in the Coin Concede Discord today, and a lot of times when we have a deck like, say, Kiliax, right? When we had the Kiliax Warrior, that was kind of meta warping, right? Because everything had to kind of adjust to that deck. If you didn't, you were just going to die, or you really weren't going to have any success, because, once they got down a Kiliax and they kept bringing it back, it was hard to get through that. Some decks could, but it was really, really challenging. In this case, this deck is not a meta tyrant. It can be beat. There are ways to beat it. It's fine. It's not necessarily warping. Although, and again, we're talking semantics here. If you feel like it's warping, I'm not going to argue with you and say, no, it's not. It's defining or whatnot. You define it how you will. But if you kind of look at it, like, the play rate's starting to go down a little bit. I think people are starting to get sick of it. People are teching against it. You have to tech in the mirror. Like, if they play their King Tide on turn 4, and you are not able to cast a spell because you only have 4 mana, you can Cult Neophyte, and then they can't play their 5 mana card. So the mirror gets interesting, and you can beat this deck, like I said. I don't feel like it's warping, but it's definitely defining, right? There's 30. If a deck's taking 30% of the ladder, then it definitely has a big impact. So what are they going to do about it? Are they going to emergency change it? I don't think so. Like we said, I think we're going to keep their 2-week window. So again, remember, it's only been 2 days. Like the mini set came out on Tuesday, it's Thursday. We have been 48 hours in this meta, so there's plenty of time for things to develop. A lot of times the newness might wear off, people get bored with it. So I don't think I'm glad they're not making big changes, but I do think that they are going to make some changes in this in 2 weeks. The question is what? The biggest card that makes a difference here is Portalmancer Skyla. And if you aren't aware, because you haven't played Hearthstone, apparently, Portalmancer Skyla is the Rogue Tourist Battlecry. Swap the costs of the lowest and highest cost spell in your hand. Now, this is a big swingy play when you play it, and you get to play a 0 or 1 mana Tsunami, or you get to play the 9 mana Sunset Volley for 1 mana. Those are big turns. It's a big turn. It's not the end of the world. So it's not really it's not really that card's effects problem. You can make it cost more. You can make it cost 9. Yeah, it would make it less effective, but it's not really the point. The point is it gives you access to the rogue cards. And the real key cards in the deck are things like Seashell, which we already talked about. We also have Conniving Conman, which is the real big winner here. And Conniving Conman is a 4-mana 4/4 battle cry. Replay the last card you've played from a non-rogue class. And I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the wording on that to be from a... I think they changed this recently to say non-rogue instead of from another class, but I wonder if it goes back to play another class, because it's really nice to be able to just play, Tsunami, and then for 4 mana play another Tsunami, and then for 4 mana play another Tsunami. So then that becomes the problem with the tourist, right? Is do you have to start nerfing rogue cards for the sins of mage? And that's kind of been the problem with dual class cards in the past, where like you had a bunch of cards that were nerfed that priest never get to play with because druid was doing things with them, like the trinket or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think they'll make some changes. I don't know what. I personally think that you can make a change by making Tsunami go back to, what was it? It was an 8 mana summon 3 or 7 mana summon 3. I forget what it was. Summon 3/6s, because then that affects the rate of you're more likely to draw Sunset Volley on things, or that'll be the one that gets swapped. And that's not always consistent as you would expect. It's a really strong card. It's always strong, but Tsunami, I think, is the better card you want to play off of your Skyla. Usually, not always, but usually. So it's hard to say. We'll see what they do with it. Again, it might not even be a problem in 2 weeks. Maybe by next time we record, it'll have a 7% play rate, and there will be a much bigger issue in the meta than Big Spell Mage. But it's fine. So the other issue I want to talk about is what if people tell you, like, a lot of people get upset when there are decks that exist like this, and they say, hey, you shouldn't play this deck because then you're being that person, or this is, you're that guy, or whatnot, because you're playing the popular deck, and try to make you feel bad about it, or they'll do it online. Oh, people that play this deck have no skill. There's skill on this deck. It's not as brain dead as people think it is. It took me, about 5 to 10 games to kind of really figure out how I wanted to play it and whatnot. But it's not big brained either. That's, you can figure out what you want to do and make it work pretty easily. But it comes down to what you're having fun with. Now, I don't like the druid decks, right? And people are still playing with them. Why are people still playing with them? Because they find them fun. Just because I don't find them fun, that's on me. And if I don't feel like playing against them, then I can always pick a different deck or a different game or a different mode. That's my choice. But it's not that person's fault for playing the deck that they have fun with or that they want to play. I mean, in the heat of the moment, you can get kind of aggravated and kind of wish that, somebody made some better choices or different choices and played decks that were more fun for you to play against, or that deck didn't exist. And if it becomes a problem, Team 5 is going to deal with it. Right? So I don't know. It's one of those things where if you like the deck that you're playing, if you like Druid, if you like Big Spell Mage, if you like Sonya Rogue, then play it. And and don't feel bad about it. That's silly talk when that kind of comes up around. Like never. The only time I really got super hated on a deck was the quest line mage. And I think part of it was because everyone else didn't like it, and I tried to just, hold on to it's, it's fine. We can deal with it. It's fine. It's some people are liking it. It's not that bad. And then I had one game where I had an almost full board. I was at 30 health. I might have even had more than 30 health. I might have had 30 health, 5 armor. My opponent had 0 cards in their hand, and they won that game on that turn. So it was just one of those things where it's like, yep, I'm done. I can't stand this deck. Can we do something about it? And again, you can want a deck to be dealt with, but your opponent, like, don't add your opponent and tell them. I don't think anyone that listens to me would do that, but your opponent is well within their rights to enjoy a deck and have fun with the deck and just play it, because that's what we're here for. So, just go with it. And also just remember right now, it's only 2 days after the mini set launch, right? So hopefully people can start innovating. I know, like I said, Pizza got the rank 1 with a new deck, a Hunter, Highlander Hunter. So I'm interested. I might even try that out tonight. But yeah, never feel bad. You can also farm it if, like, again, if you don't want to play Pirate DH, I don't blame you. But if you do like Pirate DH, this is a perfect time to play it, because that really gives this deck a hard time. And if you're seeing this deck 30% or more, that's a great way to just, move up in ranks. And I'd like to know, so I've been talking, obviously I talk a lot about where I am right now, because that's my job in here. I am explaining to you where I am, how I'm doing, what I'm thinking. That's why I'm sitting here talking. I'm trying to, if this sounds a little rambly, I apologize. I'm trying to go with less actual notes and more kind of bullet points, so that way maybe we can have a little bit more of a free flowing conversation that doesn't feel as scripted. It's easier when we do bread and butter, I have a general script, right? I write out the interview. I write out talking points for the main topic, which whatever it might be, where it gives me questions that hopefully lead the conversation, but that doesn't necessarily mean we stay on that. So I try to ask questions in the moment where, oh, wait, we're talking about this, and then this other thing came up, so let's talk about that, because that's interesting, and go in that direction. But then we also have the groundedness of what our guests can expect the questions to be asked, right? So it's like, hey, if we're talking about Big Spell Mage, I can say, well, what do you think about how Cephalopod interacts with this? Do you think it makes, is it too strong? Do you think they need, whatever it might be? But here I'm not bouncing off anybody, right? I'm bouncing off myself. So it's hard to necessarily, I don't want to just sit here and read things that I do, but I also want to have enough of a direction where I can chit chat about whatever we're talking about, and not lose the thread, and not kind of go back to the things that I've already gone to. So as I'm kind of making this shift, hopefully it's at least entertaining. And let me know if there's things you like or don't like. If you want me to bring back, I'm still going to do playthroughs, or I'm still going to do games here and there. I'm just not going to do it every week, especially if it feels like it's a week where I'm not going to have a ton of time to find a good game, edit it, then cast over it and go through all. And that takes it's more work than you would think. And I really had a hard time. I didn't really want to do the live thing anymore, because it just felt like, I don't know, it just didn't feel like it worked as well as if I did the replay, and then watch the replay. So I'm going to figure out how I want to do that. We'll do it maybe like once a month or something like that. Or if there's a really good deck or a really good game I want to talk about, we'll highlight that. But for the most part, I think if we keep this shorter, and say like a nice quick 20 minutes or so, and chit chat and keep it simple, I think that'll be fine, right? You don't want to hear me talk for too long. And if you do, you can find my stream. I talk for about 3 hours every night. So, we can work with that. But yeah, if you're playing anything new, if you have a new deck that you want me to try, let me know. I'll take a look at it for sure. And if you want some thoughts on Big Spell Mage, if you haven't played it yet, play it. If you don't have to go out of your way to craft the cards, or if you have the dust for it or whatever, play it. It's a fun deck. Um, and even if you don't like it, if you have the cards, play it. Not for a lot, but play it for a few games, and that'll at least let you understand, like, hey, why people like playing it, and maybe you'll be able to figure out how to beat it a little better or whatnot. So, always at least try the decks that you don't like if you can stomach it. Anyway, I enjoy doing it. I don't like playing them for a lot, but I at least like when I sometimes when I feel like a deck's unbeatable, I'll play it and then I get my butt kicked and I'm like, oh, wait, it is beatable. And then I figure out, oh, that's what I got to do. Okay. And it really, really helps. But I really want to branch out and play more decks. I do plan on playing more Paladin. There's people are like, why are you not playing Paladin? It's your thing. And I know, but especially him buff Paladin, although I really want more pure Paladin. I hope we bring back pure Paladin at some point. But I'm going to try to play a lot more decks over the next few weeks, so we'll have more to talk about. But um, yeah, we'll keep this nice, short, and sweet today. And if you can't deal with the fact, if you really hate the mage, take a break. Go ahead, take a day or two, play a different mode, play some different games. Hades 2 is awesome. Squelch is doing a playthrough month. They've changed their format now to be new games. They're doing Life is Strange, which is a game I've actually played all the way through, and that's very rare. And that was a really fun game. But take a couple days, and I bet you already today the play rate seems to be going down. People are saying they're seeing a lot less of it. So I'll be interested to see what the stats are in a couple days. But you can follow me on Twitch and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube at TitoSantanaHS. If there's somewhere I am not and you want me to be there, let me know. I will try to make sure I am there. This week we had Pace on Bread and Butter. You might know him from Twitter. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't stream or compete or anything like that, but it was his first appearance on a podcast. He was very entertaining and he did very, very well. So I hope you get a chance to listen to that. But yeah, I think I'm done talking. So have a great day.